right, well, the time is 6:13 p.m. I'm calling to order a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sunset Valley, Texas for Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. And apologies for the late start. We had to make sure that our streaming of the council meeting was live so that we can provide that service and also have a recording of the meeting. So with that, we're going to proceed right into public comments, which is agenda item number 2. So if you have a comment to make at this time, please step up to the podium to address council.
Good evening, Dan Horgan. I just wanted to congratulate Donald Trump for his victory. What a wonderful thing we're going to have this 2025. So Merry Christmas to y'all. And we don't just need a president that's a good businessman, Mr. Trump. We need one that unites the nation. So y'all have a happy holiday. And pray for the people of Asheville, North Carolina. They need your help. They sure do.
Thank you. Anybody else wishes to speak at this time? Councilmember Rosengarten?
Yes, I heard that Mary Black has passed away, and of course I was out of town at the time, so she is surely missed. So I just wanted to acknowledge she has done a lot for the city, and we appreciate all that she has done.
And certainly it was sad news to hear that as well, and she was a large part of the community that will be sorely missed. Any other public comments at this time? All right, we're going to move on to agenda item number 3, which is council consideration of agenda items for approval on consent. Councilmember Rosengarten?
I move to approve on consent agenda item number 4 and agenda item number 6.
All right, so move to approve on consent item number 4, number 6. Does anybody want to pull either of those items? Is there a second for the motion to approve on consent items number 4 and 6? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we approved on consent item number 4, the minutes from the November 19th, 2024 meeting. And item number 6, approval of an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, which is budget amendment number 2, for carryover monument sign, which is using the American Rescue Plan funds from fiscal year 2023-2024. And that'll take us to our next agenda item, which is agenda item number 5, which is consider an act on approval of an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget, which would be budget amendment number 15, for various expenditures, including salaries, equipment purchased with grant funds, and capital projects. And I'll hand it back to Councilmember Rosengarten, since you went over with staff some of the questions as well, and then we can address any questions that anybody else has to staff as well. So, Councilmember Rosengarten, do you want to?
Sure.
Yeah.
On page 10 of 46, you'll notice that there's the upper level, which shows the proposed increase of expenses that were not accounted for in the budget. And then on the bottom half, you'll notice the same amount as to where we are taking it from. So it's $685,292.93, and the total needed is, we're drawing from the same department. We are not increasing the budget. So we're staying within our budget. We're using money that wasn't spent in other line items that is paying for these additional expenses on the line items at the top. That's amendment number 15 for 2024. And then we got the mayor's budget amendment number 4. Now that's where the mayor and the city administrator can approve expenses as long as they are below $25,000. So if you look at that list, it totals $203,816.98 that we went over on expenses. Then if you look at page 15 and 16, you'll see where there was unspent revenues within the budget that we used to pay for this. Again, it's an intra-departmental transfer. Same department, where money wasn't spent, we're using it to pay for the extra expenses. Then when you look at page 18 to 25, the whole budget, you'll see some purple highlight lines. Those are used for these budget amendments. So you know exactly where the money came from. Then page 25 and 28, you see some red highlights. There are errors that accounting is still working on to try and find out how to correct them. And then on page 31 of 46, you see $3,247,055.29 was not spent in budget year of 2023, 2024. So that's about 20% of the budget was not spent. Now, there could still be some checks that were written and paid for an expense, but they haven't been deposited by the receiver yet, so that can happen. So I just wanted to point that all out because I had questions and I didn't understand it all, and I'm in Budget and Finance Committee, so I wanted to make sure you all saw that. Nothing went over budget, I want to make that clear, and I was worried if I put it on consent, people would think that, we're not paying attention to the numbers. However, do understand, the reason I also brought this to everybody's attention is budget amendment number 15 is for the council to put their eyes on the numbers and to approve it. And then amendment number 4 is for the mayor and city administrator to approve anything under $25,000. Understand, everything is already approved and done before it ever gets to council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Motion to approve item number 5.
All right. There's a motion to approve item number 5. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Any further discussion on this item? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right.
Thank
Motion
you, Rudy.
passes. Thank you, Ray.
Yep.
All right, that'll take us to our next agenda item, which is an opening of a public hearing for possible action regarding a request for a special use permit for a medical-related professional office on the highway commercial zoning district located at 4934 West US Highway 290. And so I'm going to open the public hearing at 6:20. And so, council, during the public hearing, we'll hear comments from members of the community, as well as any questions from council, but we're not going to take action during the public hearing, so we're not going to make motions. We'll close the public hearing, and then we can make a motion. So with this, I'm going to open up for staff to present this item, and then we'll move it to the public for comments.
Mayor and Council, Jerry Restow, the Development Services Manager. This item is to allow for a medical-related office at the old Kelly Law office on West 290 on the other side of the freeway. Kelly Law has moved to a different location, and the good folks here are plan to open up a place that would be a chiropractor and a massage office run by the couple in front of you. The place is called Austin Community Wellness, and staff recommends approval, and the Zoning Commission recommended approval as well. I'm available for any questions.
Going to close the public hearing at 6:21. And with that, council, now we can entertain motions for this item.
Go ahead.
Councilmember
Motion to
Mendes.
approve item number 7.
All right, is there a second for that?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion from council? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, the motion passes.
Welcome.
Welcome to the
Yeah,
community,
welcome.
and thanks also to the Zoning Commission for taking a look at this item and approving or giving us a recommendation to approve it. So, thank you. All right, council, that'll take us to our last agenda item that we're going to have before going into executive session, which is a public hearing and possible action on an ordinance amending section 150.101 of the Land Development Code to allow farmers artisan market as a special use in the Parkland zoning district. And so, similar to the last item, I'm going to open the public hearing, and then that'll be open at 6:22. And that'll open up for comments from the public on this item. And I'll take it over to introduction by staff for a background.
Sure. Mayor and Council, Jerry Restoven again. If you'll recall, the City Council initiated an amendment and approved the rezoning of the Uplands Tract to P Parkland zoning on a portion of the Parklands Tract known as the Uplands Tract known as the Triangle. We have the farmers market, which is there every Saturday morning. Within the Parkland zoning district in the current iteration of the code, a farmer's artisan market is not a permitted use within the Parkland zoning. So this amendment would allow it as a special use permit within the Parkland zoning, and so I would allow the continued operation of the sustainable farmers market. The staff recommends approval, and the zoning commission recommends approval as well.
So I have a question. In July 16th, the council approved that the Triangle and the Uplands piece of property would be changed to parkland zoning. And they have been operating on this property without the zoning, the zoning being changed for allowing a farmer's market on parkland.
Well, previously the property was owned GUI, the
Yes.
government utility and
July.
industrial, and it was a special use permit within the GUI district, and the farmers market does have a special use permit for the use, which was a special use in the GUI district. This would simply carry over the special use and allow it in the Parkland district.
So you're saying for the remainder of 2023, 2024, their special use permit continued until October 1st?
Yes,
For that
I would
fiscal year.
say that there was an interim period between the time that y'all changed the zoning this past summer and today, where it was what we would call a legal non-conforming use.
Yes.
In the sense it was already allowed and the zoning changed. Now that if this amendment were to be approved tonight, it would be allowed as a special use permit. They've already received a special use permit for, within the GUI district. Honestly, the staff doesn't feel a need, unless the council feels differently, to bring them back for a second special use permit. But this would allow this would allow it to continue as a special use within the P zoning district as opposed to the previous GUI district.
Thank you.
Yes, only at the Triangle. We discussed. There was a discussion at the zoning commission whether this would allow the farmers market on the Uplands tract itself as opposed to the Triangle portion, and it would not. A special use permit is specific to a piece of dirt, and so if in the future the farmers market were to move across the street to the Uplands tract, it would require a new special use permit from the council.
Thank you for that additional info.
Sure.
Councilmember Rowe.
I have a question too. This special use permit that is being considered, is it renewed annually, or is this a one-time?
So
How does that
the
work?
special use permit in the code does require, it needs to be approved by the council once, but it can be annually renewed by the city administrator.
Councilmember Medicus.
So just so I understand, when we change the allowance in the ordinance for artisan farmers market for the uplands that includes the Triangle, then we don't have to come back again and approve that?
Yes, but to be more specific, because this also came up to the zoning commission, similar to what we just discussed, this is a change to the code, not having to do specifically with the farmers market or the Uplands tract or the Triangle tract. This would simply say in a property that is zoned P Parkland, which both the Triangle and the Uplands are now, farmers artisan market is an allowed use as a special use. And so they already have a special use permit that they got under the GUI. And again, I think we would consider that to carry over to the new Parkland zoning district if this were approved tonight.
So if there was an artisan market, it would be a special use permit to use that property in Parkland?
Yes,
Of our Parkland?
yes,
It would apply to all our Parkland, wouldn't it?
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
yes,
The-
exactly.
The changes, as Jerry mentioned, the changes to the code. So you can see it's literally adding one single
Yeah.
letter. It's a very tiny red line. It's hard to see. So you can see Farmers Artisan Market was already allowed as a special use in GUI, office, neighborhood commercial, highway commercial, where now this proposed amendment is adding the letter P for Parkland.
The shortest code amendment ever.
Exactly, one letter.
One
We
letter.
can't wordsmith this.
I remember writing this.
You have to delete the line underneath.
Letter and a comma, you're correct.
Yeah. I was on zoning when we wrote it, yeah.
Councilmember Johnson.
So you said all of our parkland, but we have like the 3 different tiers, and this is like the most forgiving. Weren't we going to change them to like P1, P2, P3, and then
don't think
just
so.
Yeah, it's really not necessary to do that. So
well, but
this
we wouldn't want a farmer's market in
on C, on conservation,
Right.
or on
Right.
G
So,
either, on green
yeah.
space.
And
Nor
any
would we
other-
really want a farmer's market on in the Valley Creek Park. I don't think zoning would recommend approval for it.
Yeah, any other farmer's market on any other parkland would have to go before y'all again.
Or special
Okay.
use, yeah,
Yes.
it would still require a special use permit, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions before I open up for public comments? All right, if anybody wishes to speak during the public hearing, please step up to the podium and address council.
Hello, council. My name is Helen Bessie. I live at 795 Oakdale Drive, and I have, well, actually now 2 comments. I now wear hearing aids, and the acoustics in here suck. Could you take some of that $3 million and fix this room for some of us who are getting older now? That's my first comment. And the second one is on the farmer's market. I'm very much would like to see the farmer's market moved over at least partial, some of the triangle and some over on the uplands. But I've had some concerns lately. It doesn't seem like the P&E has been involved so much in planning. Is once you approve this, does that mean that you're going to come back and come up with a plan on what that's going to look like and what you're going to take the facilities that'll be built there, and or does P&E have a chance to review and look at any of these things? I mean, we used to. And now you've got engineers and all these folks that you pay to do that, but they don't live here. So this is my question. Are we going to get to review it and comment?
So just to address you were specifically talking about any kind of uplands.
Could you speak louder? Sorry.
So the uplands CIP project is under a development phase right now where they are seeking input from not only council but also from residents, and there will be an opportunity for residents to provide feedback before any kind of design is approved, and then any design that's going to be approved would have to come back to council for our own feedback and discussion. But as part of the process that we approved a task order with the MEN Collaborative, they are going to have a community engagement to bring that feedback to this process. I don't know if they're actually going to be going to P&E as part of that or soliciting that information at this time, but it's going to be open to all the residents and all the community members.
I would like to request that this go before P&E and let us comment it. We really used to be very active in these kinds of things, and now it's just like we just talk about movie night. So I don't know what's happening to the committees and they're giving input like we used to, rather than relying upon consultants. So please consider including us in this.
Councilmember Rosengarten?
May I address?
Please.
We're not doing anything about the schematic plan for the uplands. All we're doing tonight is talking about a special use permit, because when it was rezoned from GUI to parkland, no longer could the farmer's market be allowed on the parkland.
Right.
So all we're doing is deciding if we're going to allow and zoning already approved it, to allow farmer's market now to be included on parkland. That's all we're doing tonight, nothing else.
Okay, so the planning part hasn't started, and I
Yeah.
heard, saw someone shaking their head no, like P&E wasn't going to be involved.
No. What they were saying is that's not on the agenda tonight.
Okay, super. All right,
Okay.
all right. Thanks so much. I appreciate it, and
Yep.
I'm really glad you're doing this. I'd like to see part of it over there with a lot of considerations about what's over there now.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that wishes to speak during the public hearing, please step up to the podium. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:32. And now, council, that'll allow for us to make a motion on this item. Councilmember Johnson.
I move we approve an ordinance amending section 150.101 of the Land Development Code to allow farmers/artisan market as a special use in the Parkland P zoning district.
All right, there's a motion to approve the ordinance. Is there a second? Councilmember Medicus? Any further discussion from council? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, we approved the ordinance amending the Land Development Code. All right, so council, our next item is an executive session item, so we will need to have a motion to move into executive session. And as a reminder, when we're in executive session, council doesn't take any action. we can take possible action once we return from executive session. But if somebody can make the motion and also include the pursuant language so that we're covering that as well. Councilmember Medicus?
We move into executive session to pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, to consult with the city attorney regarding the Public Works and Police Department solar project and contract with Texas Solar Outfitters, LLC.
Is there a second for that? Second. Mayor Pro Tem seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're going to move into executive session at 6:33, and we will reconvene once we conclude our business. All right, council, we're going to get started again. All right, we're going to reconvene into open session at 7:06 p.m., and we can take action at this time. Councilmember Rosengarten.
I move to terminate the contract with Texas Solar Outfitters and direct staff and city attorney to seek reimbursement of any funds submitted to TSO in excess of completed or inefficient work. I also, second motion?
Or let's do one motion at a time, and then
You
we'll
got
do the second motion. Is there a second for that motion? Councilmember Burrell? Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
I authorize city administrator to negotiate and execute a contract with Greenlight Solar to complete the project in an amount not to exceed $121,990 pursuant to a general exception to local government code section 252.022.
All right, is there a second for that motion? Mayor Pro Tem seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right. So with that, I'm going to also give direction to staff to enter into a potential settlement agreement with, or pursue a potential settlement agreement with Greenlight Solar to protect the city from any potential liability from the work that's already been completed. And I think staff is going to take the next action to work with Greenlight as part of the contract negotiations. So no formal motion needed, but we're going to direct staff to make sure that we are protected from any liability that that would come from the work that's been overseen by Texas Solar Outfitters but not completed under their contract. All right, so council, with that, we don't have any further agenda items. Councilmember Medicus?
Motion to adjourn and happy holidays to everyone.
Is there a second for that motion? Second. Everybody seconds, but the happy holidays part, I don't know. All right, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, we are adjourned at 7:08 p.m. And
Take care. Have a good one.
You too.